This mother has been charged with strangling her 3 young children. Her lawyers blame postpartum depression.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And she used Apple Maps to make sure she would have enough time to strangle each child before her husband returned from where she had sent him. She knew that she had murdered her children, and she had the clarity, focus, and mental acumen to focus on protecting her own rights and interests.
A Massachusetts mother was charged with 2 counts of homicide and 3 counts of strangulation after allegedly strangling her 2 young children and attempting to kill her baby before jumping from her house on Tuesday.
On the morning of Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, the defendant took her 5-year-old daughter, Cora, to the pediatrician's for an appointment. She interacted with a receptionist, nursing staff, and a doctor. There were apparently no issues with the defendant's demeanor or behavior as she completed the appointment and was allowed to leave with Cora without any issues or concerns. When she returned home, she went outside with Cora and a 3-year-old son, Dawson, to play in the snow. She texted with them. Nothing in the text was out of the ordinary or any sign of any distress or trouble.
The woman, 32-year-old Lindsay Clancy of Plymouth, survived the murder-suicide attempt with a 7-month-old, and the 2 are now recovering at a Boston hospital. Lindsay Clancy's husband, Patrick Clancy, placed a 911 call alerting Massachusetts police to his wife's suicide attempt.
Party across the top floor of the house.
Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz revealed in a news conference on January 25, 2023. Lindsay Clancy is accused of killing her 2 young children and attempting to kill her 3rd child at a Duxbury home, the district attorney said.
We developed probable cause and today are seeking and obtaining an arrest warrant out of Plymouth District Court charging 32-year-old Lindsay Clancy, the mother of these children, with their homicides.
Tim Cruz said Patrick Clancy called the police at 6:11 p.m. on January 24th to report a female resident had jumped from a window at the couple's Duxbury home.
At approximately 6:11 p.m. tonight, Duxbury police received a 911 call from a male resident at 47 Summer Street who arrived home and reported the attempted suicide of the adult female resident who had jumped out of the window in the home.
When first responders arrived, they located Lindsay Clancy and treated her injuries at the scene before transporting her to a nearby hospital. Responders then found the couple's 3 children unconscious with obvious signs of severe trauma. They were taken to the hospital where the 2 older children, Cora Clancy and Dawson Clancy, were pronounced dead.
The Duxbury police and fire located the woman. She was transported to a local hospital for treatment, where she currently remains. First responders subsequently located 3 children under the age of 5, unconscious with obvious signs of trauma. A 5-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy were transported to a local hospital where they were pronounced deceased.
The 3rd child, a 7-month-old male infant, was also taken to the hospital. However, on January 27th, authorities confirmed that the infant has also died. Tim Cruz said Lindsay Clancy will be charged in the deaths of the 2 young children and the injury of the 3rd. An arrest warrant has been issued for Lindsay Clancy for 2 counts of homicide and 3 counts of each strangulation and assault and battery with a deadly weapon for the deaths of 5-year-old Cora Clancy and 3-year-old Dawson Clancy.
The children were killed by ligature strangulation. Ligature strangulation causes the victim to become unconscious anywhere from 10 seconds up to a minute. The more the victim struggles, the longer it takes. After the victim is unconscious, the ligature must be held in place with force, squeezing the neck for up to an additional 4 to 5 minutes to cause death. Therefore, she had to strangle each of them to unconsciousness and then make sure the bands were squeezing their little necks for several minutes.
Cruz said the manner and means of the children's deaths will be determined by the medical examiner's office, but it appears that the children were strangled. When a reporter asked if postpartum psychosis could have played a role in the incident, Cruz said he was not in a position to comment on any mental health issues, but that everything is being looked at. At the time of the news conference, Lindsay Clancy remained hospitalized in Boston, but will be arraigned as soon as possible, Cruz said. He described her medical status as a moving target and said he was waiting for updates on her condition.
I can't confirm where she's at right now.
You said she was in Boston.
And she's not, yeah, she's in a hospital in Boston. Yeah.
And you don't know her condition at this point, how seriously she's in?
Well, I think the condition is a moving target.
The radio host, John DePedro, tweeted that Lindsay Clancy was in a very intensive 5-day-a-week program for PPD trying to get help. Curious to hear a statement from the individuals treating her and what was missed. Sounds like she was in a desperate situation. DiPietro claimed that a friend of Lindsay Clancy informed him that her husband was working from home instead of going into work to be able to try and support her daily while she went to a program 5 days a week for PPD. And in the 25 minutes it took him to pick up takeout, the unthinkable happened.
She texted, "Any chance you want to do takeout from 3V? I didn't cook anything. It's been a long day." This was an unusual request, as when the family ordered takeout, they'd usually go somewhere closer to home, but it was a place that they had been in the past. Yesterday, on February 6, 2023, at 10:09 a.m., she again used Dr. Zeisel's cell phone to call her husband. This time he answered, and during this call, the defendant stated that after he left the house that night, she killed the kids because she heard a voice and had, quote, a moment of psychosis, end quote. He asked her what voices she heard, and she said she heard a man's voice telling her to kill the kids and kill herself because it was her last chance. Each child still had the exercise band that was used to strangle them tied around their necks when their father found them.
Lindsay Clancy worked as a labor and delivery nurse at Mass General Hospital. Her Facebook page listed her current profession as a labor and delivery RN at Massachusetts General Hospital.
There are a lot of benefits for both mother and baby.
A LinkedIn page for then named Lindsay Musgrove lists her as licensed in neonatal resuscitation program, pediatric advanced life support, and advanced cardiac life support. The Boston Globe reported that in July 2022, Lindsay Clancy posted about her past struggles with postpartum anxiety on Facebook. But 6 weeks after the birth of her third child, Clancy posted that she was feeling dialed in and that focusing on nutrition, mindset, and exercise made all the difference. Lindsay Clancy often posted photos of her children on Facebook along with captions professing her love and gratefulness for her family. The children's grandmother, Rita Musgrove, said she had recently spoken with Lindsay Clancy and that everything seemed fine.
They were just beautiful, beautiful children.
At the news conference, crews said law enforcement are continuing to build a criminal case, with local and state police working around the clock. Crews also praised the professionalism of the Duxbury Police, fire departments, and the state police.
It's a challenging event. I think being a police officer, being a first responder, has never been more challenged. I think we should all be thanking them for their efforts, and we should continue to pray for the family in this terrible event, and we will go forward and do our job.